All right.
Everybody mute.
All right.
Everybody mute.
All right.
Mute.
All right.
Hi, welcome to our real first attempt at a virtual town hall. We are hoping to make these, for the Sons of Ben, hoping to make these fairly frequent where we can field questions from our membership and then have the members of the Sons of your current Sons of Ben board answer them and give you feedback and take feedback. That way we can increase our communication and understanding and connect between the board members and all our just broad membership. I'm Brian Bross. I'm the current president. I was elected to this role in at the end of 2022. This is my first year of a 2-year term. I've been in some capacity on the board since 2013. So now we're going to go through and kind of just take a moment to introduce all our other board members. Jess, if you would like to unmute and introduce yourself. Alright, so well, looks like we're having a little trouble on Jess's end. So we'll kind of skip around. Kirsten, if you would like to unmute and introduce yourself.
Thanks, Ryan. Hi, everyone. My name is Kirsten Morris. I have been on the board since 2019. This is my 5th year, start of my first term for 2023 into 2024. I am the Secretary and Social Media Director for the Sons of Ben.
Thank you, Kirsten. Let's go with John.
Hello, everybody. John Light here, the merch director for the Sons of Ben. I was elected at the beginning of 2020. Currently, just ran for re-election and won. Thank you to those that voted for me. And yeah, I'm happy to be here tonight.
Thank you, John. Mike, would you like to introduce yourself? Mike, I see you're unmuted, but I cannot hear you.
How about now?
Yes, now I can. Oh, and
good.
I can see you. Perfect.
I'll try that again. I'm Mike Blankemeyer. I'm the travel director for Sons of Ben. I've been on the board since 2022, member since 2009. Thanks for coming out tonight.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Eric, how about you?
Hey, what's going on, gang? You guys can hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. I'm Eric Jacinto. I'm the philanthropy director here. This is my first term, second year, and I've been a capo since 2015. So I guess I'm the elder capo. And I was a member since officially a member since 2011, but I joined. Well, yeah, official member since 2012, but I joined in 2011. And yeah, glad to be here, and thanks for everyone watching at home as well.
Thank you, Eric. How about Vince? Just unmute and introduce yourself.
Oh, thank God, just in time. Got the audio back. So my name is Vince. I'm the treasurer. I joined the board in late 2020, and I've been loving it ever since.
All right, thank you, Vince. Rachel, would you like to introduce yourself? All right, looks like we might be having the same issue. Rachel, can you unmute yourself? Okay, so it looks like some people are having a little bit of trouble unmuting themselves if they're on the call-in. Justin, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Justin Friedberg. I am the Sons of Ben member at large. I have been in this role since the start of the calendar year in my first year in my first term. Been a Sons of Ben member since 2010, and just happy to be here with everyone.
Thank you, Justin. Now, see, Rob is also here. You want to introduce yourself, Rob?
Hi, Rob Migliaccio here. I am the Capo and Drummers Director since 2022. I've been part of the SOB family since about 2014, and I've been part of the Capos and the TIFO crew since about 2015. And happy to be here and happy to see everyone.
All right, I look like I can see, I believe Kelsey is on the call.
Yep, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hey everyone, this is Kelsey Luckenbach. I've been a Sons of Ben member since 2019, and this is my first year as the tailgate director.
All right, thank you. Saw someone
Hey.
else just popped in on a phone call.
Ryan, can you
Rachel?
hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hi. Hi guys. This is Rachel Gray. I am membership director, and I'm excited we're doing this.
All right, and it looks like that's Jess that just joined.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
You guys have to hit *6 to unmute yourself.
Oh, perfect.
Hi.
I think we kind of figured out.
Hi, this is Jess Gussler, current vice president for the group. Previously, I held the travel director position for 4 years. That's about it. I mean, you see me bouncing around every day at the games, helping out where I can.
What I'd also like to add, Jess is our main point of contact for ISC. In that, if anyone doesn't know, that is the Independent Supporters Council. It is a group, basically a supporters group made out of all the supporters groups in the US and Canada that are, it doesn't matter what level of soccer you are in or how many members, really, it's just kind of everyone, and that is a way to ensure supporters' rights are being at the forefront of as much conversations as we can make it possible. Kind of think of it as like the players' association when they're like bargaining for the contracts within the league. Okay, so the way we kind of solicited the questions from you guys was through a survey, which the name might have implied. We are looking to possibly do this quarterly, where we send out a census and survey with a spot for open-ended questions. In the future, a lot of the questions may remain the same, just to gauge if there's been a shift in interest within the group. And then we will also be adding new questions, ones either asked by our board members to better understand our group, or ones that have come up based on feedback, like outside feedback from, or questions we have from the group, or from outside the board about the group. This could be from our partners, from the team, from the league, from ISC. I believe some of Eric's questions that were on the survey related back to feedback points from one of our partner organizations, Common Goal, who we started working with last year. So these are all going to be single blind studies or surveys, meaning that you know who is asking the questions to you in that it's the Sons of Ben, and we know who's responding because that is how we are checking membership. We are not sharing your individual responses outside the few board members that are collecting the data. So if you ask a question or answer a certain way, or answer any other survey points a certain way, that information is going to be anonymous. So forgot to one point. All of the board members here are elected officials who have come from open elections within the Sons of Ben that we hold yearly, with the exception of Rob. Rob is an appointed member. He was appointed last year as a backfill to what was the TIFO position to game day operations. He is a point of contact that was taking over my game day responsibilities and talking to the front office and the capos. He did run for member at large, but Justin won that election. But Rob agreed to stay on as an appointed board member. Appointed board members do not have voting rights on board issues or board spend. So in the cases of making board decisions or statements, Rob does not actually have a vote in those because he is not an elected official, meaning he is not directly representing might not directly be representing what the wants of our general membership agree upon. Just wanted to clarify that point if anyone was wondering why Rob or anyone else is on the board. Other times there have been appointed positions is the position of treasurer, because we need to have, that needs to be a CPA. And there has not always been someone who has run for that position who is qualified. So if we would, I think we're okay to move on to the kind of the question and answer portion of that. Kirsten, if you're ready to start asking questions. Jess and I will be fielding most of the questions to start, and then we will be delegating them to the different stakeholders based off of what kind of what questions or what departments the questions fall under. So Kirsten, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Ryan. Our first question that we are going to be covering is, could you please explain why the business meeting taxes in 2020 were roughly around $17,000?
I mean, I could address that from what I have learned from from Vince, and I can let Vince speak to it more. It seems like a large portion of it is relating back to. So this was 2020, correct? Kirsten, you said 2020?
Correct.
All right, so, excuse me. 2020, we were a partner host of ISC's conference in Baltimore, where we did a lot of the planning and infrastructure. And then I know there's other issues towards the end of 2020, not issues, expenses that came up at the end of 2020, like including the insurance that we needed to take out on the supporter shield. And then at the same time, there's a lot of miscellaneous purchases that have been, that were incidentally filed under business expenses because the lawyer filing wasn't really quite sure probably what TIFO meant. Or if you look at the rest of that report, it was saying flags and banners around 500, and I can tell you that does not really start to cover much of a single game's worth of a new larger banner. Vince, is there anything else you would like to add to that?
Sorry, It would not unmute for me for some reason. But no, I think you got everything right there. I wasn't sure where that 17 was coming from. I was looking more like 13, but 17 might be right. Again,
Yeah, I
those
think the
forms
question
came
was
in
about
before
the
I did. They were the ones. They were the last ones the previous treasurer had put together. So I wasn't quite sure how the attorney classified like some of those TIFO items you brought up under there. So it was a little hard for me to understand as well. But you know, you got everything else right with the ISC partnership that we had with them, as well as the large insurance that we had to do for the supporter shield at the end of the year.
Yeah, I do notice that like a lot of the TIFO kind of falls into a lot of categories. I feel like that is one of our big spend areas. Would probably be TIFO. It's one of our big spends that doesn't bring any money into it. Is our game day operations in terms of in stadium, whether it be materials, smoke, just supplies that we need, other consumables that do not bring any kind of revenue in, where we spend money on tailgates and merch, but they have returns where the banners and the general TIFO and game day do not.
And yeah, so those have been adjusted going, from the end of 2020 to now reflect on their supplies where they should. And it looks like from the last returns, the attorney did move them into the appropriate areas and not under board meetings.
Okay. I was going to suggest possibly a way to do that is when we take a look at that, and like how we submit it might be different from how, like, what then becomes available public information. If we take a look at that, we do like or a due diligence and do it right away instead of it coming up as a question down the line. If we take a look at it and maybe make a public breakdown of our expenses that are in terms that are not worded so the IRS can understand them, they're in terms that the Sons of Ben and our like the board and the members know what they are. Like we say,
that's a good idea. I like it. Half the time, not even sure the IRS understands their own codes and regulations, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, I'd be up for that. We could try to be a little bit more, put in more processes or workflows that allow for the better due diligence instead of just solely relying on the tax attorney that prepares the forms for us.
Yeah, because even just reading that form on its own, it was hard to find.
Oh, my eyes are still cross-eyed from reading it.
Yeah, then seeing like what we could see, and then what was public information, and then knowing that we report on a different calendar year than what most people think about.
Yeah, so fortunately for me, in my current job, I work for the state of New Jersey Treasury, so our fiscal year runs in the same as the Sons of Ben fiscal year. It's July 1st through the following June 30th. So it really, really adds to the confusion and can make it hard for someone who's not used to reading financials, or even the nonprofit kind of or 501c type of tax return forms. It is a challenge.
Yeah. All right. Kirsten, do we have any other questions relating back to that or a follow-up to that?
No, not really on that. There was about 3 questions submitted for that alone. The only other question really, why aren't there more accessible treasurer reports available to the public?
Okay. Well, I think we kind of touched upon that is something that we want to start doing. As a whole, I would like to have more transparency in terms of reporting, whether it's our treasurer reports or what our taxes are. And so that is an initiative we're trying to or I would like to see as we get going. The beginning of the season is very, I'll say, stressful and confusing sometimes. And now we're in top of 2 competitions right now, and a building change. It's just taking a while to roll out some of the new initiatives I would personally like to see, and I'm sure other board members have other projects and initiatives that they are more than ready to launch. So on my end, the increased efforts in transparency is one of those. And then, Kirsten, before we ask the next question, would you mind sharing with the stream the number of respondents we had to the survey, and then overall about how many questions we received? I know some are going to be repeats, so we're going to try to kind of combine those questions as we go.
Certainly. In our survey, we had 338 responses out of the questions, and this is including repeat questions, 107.
All right, thank you. And now, if we you can move on to the next question if you'd like.
Sure, we're going to move on to travel.
All right.
Is there a way to make close away trips more affordable?
Now, I did see like a more long form of that, where someone mentioned other teams like DC United are paying $40 for their travel to here. I believe Mike has been in contact with DC's travel director to see what he has to say about that. But for the most part, we the Sons of Ben operate very independently, where that we don't have anything subsidized from the team. I'm well aware that other groups get either the cost of the bus or the tickets subsidized by their front office. I believe Atlanta's is your ticket's free if you can get there kind of thing. If you're seeing someone paying $40 to go to an Easter Conference game, that's most likely their team is buying them a bus or chartering them a bus at cost, where their board's not taking them out. The other end of that is maybe their group is just using some of their funds to pay for the bus out of pocket and eat that whole cost. Now, that is something that is possible, but might not be the most feasible for our group. Follow up to that, Mike, would you like to? Is there anything you could add to that? Mike, you might be muted.
Okay, how about now?
Yep, I can hear you now.
It said hit the space bar to unmute yourself. I thought that worked, but DC does offer trips for us and both the New York teams for $45 for their members. Their non-members pay $90. We don't do that. Whether they're subsidizing their bus, or it's their Uncle Harry driving a bus, or it's an unlicensed bus service, I don't know. I do have a call into Jimmy. If we did something like that where we were eating the cost of the bus, then we'd just be taking money away from the people we support, like St. Bernardine's. So if that's something we want to do, I'm sure we can. But right now, we don't do the bus trips to make money. Those bus trips are based on the cost of the bus divided by the number of seats I can sell, and however hard the away team's gouging us this year. Real quick. Let's see, there we go. But don't see your faces. I was trying to show something, but Google's not being kind. And a multi-screen environment doesn't always help. There we go. Share. That came up. Anybody see it? Thanks. So this is what happened with New York this year, NYCFC. And this has nothing to do with Philadelphia sports trips.
Yes,
The bus
I can
cost
see
went
that.
up. The bus went up 174%, tickets at 140%. So that brings us in at 156% increase to go watch a bloody football match in a baseball stadium. So on the other hand, like at New York, Red Bulls didn't really raise their price at all, a couple bucks for the tickets. And one last thing about Screaming Eagles, the DC United supporters group, they're overcharging their members on the tickets. Like I charged $30, which is what Cincinnati charged us. I think it was $29.50, and they charged $36. So I don't think they gave me a better deal in Cincinnati because I'm a hometown boy, but either way. I'm done rambling. I'll mute.
Yeah, there's okay. I feel like most of the teams have kept their ticket pricing the same year to year. Now we do have some issues where teams upcharge, and that actually happens when the away team is better. They'll start upcharging them. There's efforts to push back against that that tendency. That is something that is league wide, and the league is that we're working on.
And that's why we're part of ISC.
The other thing to add to the New York trip, it is a holiday weekend. The decision to let Philly Sports Trips host is that they had a good working relationship with a bus company. It is sometimes hard for us to, it's sometimes hard for us to even get a bus company on the phone and to give us a bid, and then to even stay true to that bid when it comes time. We've had buses kind of cancel, or it's been double booked, or they're not going to go with us because last time they went to DC, their bus broke down on the way home. Like that was our fault, but it was a fun trip. Sorry. Another thing is
they added a $250 alcohol policy now.
Oh, so yeah, that would be kind of terrible, to be honest.
And $50 for the USBs to work so you can charge your phone.
Oh, yeah, and if anyone's been to any of our local road trips, that being DC, Harrison, New Jersey, or Yankee Stadium, there's nowhere to tailgate really at any of them. We have a spot at Rebel Arena. It's very small, and judging by the construction going around the stadium, that's about to disappear any day now. So we've been Screaming Eagles do host us at their tailgate spot. Their tailgate spot is a modified research center on the river, and they just have beer that Heineken has given them. That's their tailgate. And so that's what we partake when we go down there. There's not much other places to, tailgating spots down at Audi Field. Can't find anything at Yankee Stadium. So we don't really have that great of a spot to travel and then set up a good tailgate. We can't bring our grills or anything, so that's why a local trip is a bus and your bus and your game ticket. Now, if the bus prices keep increasing, we did ask this question on the survey. Maybe some of these local places, especially the Harrison trip, the Rebel Arena trip, and New York City, maybe we just do the ticket only and we create Facebook groups or something that would help facilitate like carpooling or organizing a mass kind of like take over a train on NJ Transit and go up to the game kind of thing, which would see a cut in costs and kind of be like a little bit of everyone find their own way kind of thing.
And Ryan, real quick,
Yes, Mike?
there are Facebook groups for each
Yeah.
away trip this year. So
Okay.
if you didn't
Yeah.
find it and you're going, because I wanted to open that level of communication between people that are in the same city.
Yeah, I know. There's like
Yeah,
I believe like Chicago had one where you could kind of, hey, where do you guys want to meet beforehand, kind of thing. So we could bring that to some of the more local games that would be more of the road trip end of it. Okay, Kirsten, is there anything related to that question, or should we move on to the next one?
We're going to stay in travel, if
All
that's
right.
okay.
Could I follow up on that for a moment?
Oh yeah, sorry, Jess. This is Jess
So
speaking. She was travel director for quite a while.
in regards to ticket pricing, ISC, which Ryan touched on earlier, Mike reports every away trip to ISC. He'll let them know the amount of people going, the cost of tickets, the allotment that was given from the away stadium, and any incidents that may have happened on that trip are reported to ISC. ISC takes that information and they will bring it to the MLS, and that will either help increase security where needed in certain stadiums. That is going to try to help push standardized ticketing prices across the board for supporter groups if possible, because we are the ones that go to these games religiously. We are the ones that travel to see our team. It's no promises, but it is something that they are trying to work on for future seasons, for one set price for at least supporter groups to away trips.
Thank you, Jess. All right, Kirsten.
Next question. Do the Sons of Ben get any financial benefit for its partnership with Philly Sports Trips?
I believe Philly Sports Trips, the only benefit we're getting from them is that they had a bus point of contact. Mike, if you'd like to speak to that.
Yeah, we don't get a direct benefit. I know Vince has shown up at tailgates with merch and food, which is kind of nice, and drink, but no financial compensation. I don't know what their deal is with the front office, but they don't pay us. There was another question kind of associated to that. It was like the marquee trips. I don't know if that was.
Oh, the one where we asked.
Oh, no, somebody else asked.
Well, Kirsten might be getting to that. I don't know.
Yeah, I won't step on her toes. So, no, we don't get a direct benefit. And, I mean, they seem like a nice bunch of people to work with. Sometimes we have trips that are a little bit more than some people may want to spend, but other people do. Trying to talk Vince into doing 2 tiers. He did that with the NYCFC trip. And currently, I believe we only have 4 people signed up for the cheaper version of the trip anyway.
I mean, that's the one thing that like I believe it was last year or 2021, they did a full catering of the tailgate, is kind of to show you what kind of menu they would have at these big ones that they're hosting, which is a little bit different than like if they're traveling, they're bringing their chefs. If they're like when they were in LA, they kind of found people to do it. They have a certain standard that they follow. They do this professionally. This is their job. This is how they're making money. And I agree, it is a higher price for a premium product. I know that's not everyone's like direct, or not everyone's within their budget or their want to spend. So like I said, we're looking at if you're going to take control of it or not take control of it, if you're going to do these overnight ones, could you offer varying price points or like a high and a low? For New York, they did that. For New York, it was the reason that they're doing one of these closed trips is there was a bit of a push from the front office to make this a big holiday weekend takeover. We have this great opportunity to take over a huge section at Citi Field where they're going to put us in the third tier where no one's going to see us anyway, kind of thing. But so that's why it was a front office initiative that kind of led for a Philly Sports Trips bus trip this year instead of it being more of the larger destination trips. So I think that covers that question. Kirsten, is there a follow-up to that or to the next question?
There is no follow-up question to that. Now to the marquees, there was no question submitted by a member. That was submitted by us for others to answer.
Sorry, what was that?
That was not the marquise was not a submitted question by a member, but a question from us. There it is. Here we go. It was a yes, no, or maybe. 53.6% said maybe. 40% said yes, and the remaining said no to that one from us.
All right, so the marquee trips were something that we used to do, and it's kind of where Philly Sports Trips kind of came in a little bit, where it would be like or Nashville last year, where we go and make a point to take a large group to a new stadium or a new team. We did this in 2011 at Sporting Kansas City. Again, it was a higher price, all-inclusive trip. I think I might be the only one on the board that went on that, and the only kind of still active Sons of Ben member. There was a lot of people there. It was a lot of fun. I was on crutches. The security group left me behind in the stadium. It was interesting. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and then we did like Columbus. There was an overnight bus trip the first year for the ending season opener. Again, that I didn't go on that, but I heard kind of interesting stories where the bus was locked because the guy went to get a haircut and didn't know how long a soccer game lasts. Something like that, yeah. There is also, I'll say this, we don't travel that well. We used to travel a lot better in the beginning. We'd take 3 or 4 buses down to DC and overtake the bowl, like their upper bowl at RFK, and we'd be jumping so much the cameras on the broadcast were shaking. As terrifying as that is, that's what was happening. Red Bull Arena, we did this in 2015 Open Cup. They made us play at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. And we got 5 buses up there, but because front office, it's like, if you sign up and you want to go, we'll pay for it. We filled 5 buses and sent 5 buses worth of people up there. I've made this point to the front office that we have, we're doing well, and we have support is up. If you want to maybe help subsidize some bus trips, maybe the New York or DC, we could make this something big. Not every game, maybe 1 game a year, so we could actually build up and get excitement up around the play games. Eric, do you have a point to make to that?
You said the word. I literally was just going to drop. Just finding a way, maybe for next season or in the future, just to subsidize, maybe not the cost to every game, but pick a couple of the big ones and see what we can subsidize to try to make the price a little more affordable. Or maybe, I mean, I don't see the price of diesel going down anytime soon. I don't know, but maybe having a membership option that's just like an add-on that like if you're a traveler and you're a regular traveler, then you pay a little bit more for your yearly membership, but that helps us then subsidize more of the trip. That's just maybe an idea, and of course we can discuss this internally as the year goes on. But just throwing that out there.
Ryan, just to loop around something on the YouTube chat, the cost of the bus is not, people don't get how much it costs. I just got the quote for DC for one bus. It's over $2,500. That's without parking, and that's hoping that everybody tips in for the driver.
Without tip, yeah.
Yeah, and that's hard because
And God
a lot of
forbid
people
somebody
don't
pukes
bring
in the
cash
bus.
anymore. Can't pass a
Also-
hat around and swipe a card in the hat.
In New York City, I don't remember if DC required it, but New York City also requires a parking permit for buses. So that was at like a couple $100 when I was the travel director. So that's also an additional fee that is included in that price. So there are things that add up to that number. It's not just like a bus rental that people have to understand as well.
If somebody knows somebody who owns a bus and they're licensed, let's talk.
Yeah. Yeah, if you own a bus company, we'll trade you membership. Like, all right, Kirsten, next question.
All right, we're going to be moving on to tailgates.
All right.
Is the current tailgate location permanent, and is it handicapped accessible?
I would say the new location is going to be permanent without getting into a lot of details that are probably covered under some NDA that I have signed. There's the area that we are in is going to be a focal point moving forward, pretty much like an extension of the plaza. So we have a premium spot in terms of where the game day activity is going to be focused after the training complex. The new training facility is constructed. We're kind of going to be the focal. Our area is going to be I think more of a focal point. Excuse me. In terms of handicap accessibility, I know there's kind of two fronts to look at this. Where is the handicap parking, and then is the lot actually handicap accessible? Now, I don't know too much about the handicap parking situation in that lot G and H are in constant flux right now as they are being regraded and reworked. So there might be this is something I will bring up to the front office in asking them, can we designate maybe the front of lot H where that little ramp is, maybe that can be paved to make it handicap accessible, so then we can mostly for the members that want to use the Sons of Ben lot and take part in the tailgate. The other part of that is the tailgate spot itself accessible. I would say it is more so than the Sons of Ben lot we just left. There are obviously much more paved spots. We have the whole inside of the building that is paved. Rainy Street and Law Street are paved, and we have sidewalks around it. In terms of development of the lot, we might be paving portions of the lot. That would also open the more accessibility to that, to the full area, I would say. But yeah, I know the main point is how close is it to handicap parking, and that is kind of, as everyone knows right now, how is parking going to work has kind of been changing game to game as we learn new things about the game day flow, and that is us working with the front office, working with the parking vendor that they use. So is there a follow-up or just straight to the next question?
Straight to the next question. When will tailgates be more than just burgers and hot dogs every week?
I think the burgers and hot dogs every week kind of is our default state in terms of what's easiest to prepare, easiest to store, and easiest to source. We have more storage options now that we have a building with with constant electricity, and we have fridges. So we're going to be looking to expand that farther, to expand the menu.
Ryan, you're muted, man.
You cut out.
You're currently muted, Ryan.
All right. I don't know where I touch my keyboard, so spacebar does work sometimes, I guess, Mike. Sorry, what I was saying was it's kind of our standard fare. This is we're more strict at the beginning of the season, and then we also have very limited storage space where we used to have none. Now we have a limited amount, so we're going to be looking to expanding our menu a little bit more, and then there's also now that we have a lot of people coming to tailgates again as the team does better, and we have full sellouts of the team, and we're having sellouts the tailgates, we can look into doing kind of the specialties or themed tailgates again. I believe since I've been doing this, I believe last year's playoff game was the first time we had to say, like, we sold out a tailgate. So let's just to give you some context to that. Kelsey, if you're
volunteered to make Cincinnati chili again.
Yeah, Mike does like to make that whenever FCC comes. So we do have some of that where we make like a themed food to the to what our opponent is. Kelsey, is there anything you would like to add?
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Yeah, just to add to that too, like we will try and do some like theme nights with certain games and stuff coming up. If you were at our home opener, we actually had a vendor. They came and donated some food for a little bit. That was thanks to Philly Sports Travel. So we also may look at some of those options when we know we have a big tailgate coming, just to help with some food, get some more vendors out there as well. But we're definitely going to look to expand it, like Ross said, but just kind of finding out finer details right now and using our basics and the cheesesteaks and peppers and onions. But like we said, definitely working on expanding that and even looking for some vegetarian or vegan options as well.
Also, I'd like to mention that Dietz and Watson is one of our big sponsors, and they are hot dog. They donate the hot dogs and the sausage. So it does seem that we do have more of that because it's donated to the tailgate.
Yeah, I think last time we had like a spicy hot dog, which was pretty good. Just saying, I didn't know the hot dog was going to be like spicy, so that was nice, little change. Kirsten, next question, please.
Okay, we are going to move on to membership.
Okay.
What can be done to help introduce new members or members who have been lurkers to the organization, and how can you facilitate a socialization for these members?
It's kind of always been a bit of an issue. Like, I know if you're a new member, you kind of come in and it can feel very cliquish with, like, you go to your first tailgate and you see everyone kind of is organized in groups, talking or just doing whatever they do pregame together. We had a few former board members where they wanted to put an initiative of almost, for lack of better terms, like a singles event almost, where, hey, if you want to be more social but you're not coming with a group and you don't already have a group, let's meet at this location, kind of thing. I would say if you can, if you're a new member and you're coming out, if you feel comfortable to post about it, I'm sure there's plenty of members who go to every game who are, I see it like weekly. There are people say, I'm going to my first game, or I just joined membership, and we'll retweet that or share it, and then you'll have members offering to hang out with you at the tailgate or join our group or come sit with us in our section, kind of thing. So it's also kind of hard to tell if maybe someone's just at a tailgate and they want to be left alone and do their own thing. So it's sometimes hard for a board member especially to make the almost first move to go talk to someone. But there's been plans and initiatives throughout the years, and as we get more and more numbers back, we're going to look to increase those. Vince?
So I kind of had a little bit of a antithesis of this kind of experience, because when I first started, before I was a board member, it was my dad and I are the season ticket holders, and when he was working before he retired, he was working for Wallace, so there were times where he had to pull a double or work overnight, so I was left on my own, and I was attending these tailgates. And I'm an introvert. I don't really approach people all that much, but I always found that those games, those nights were a lot more fun, because people just came up to me, or I was able to easily approach people and really get out of my comfort zone and felt part of a family. And that helped me to eventually, when I saw the posting for the treasurer position, to just reach out and say, hey, I'll give it a shot, and try to give back that way. So, I think there is something already in place, just it's more organic than what we have, and maybe we should build upon that somehow. But like you were saying, with, hey, it's my first game, we tweet it, share it, and you'll probably see a lot of those members who are so outreaching and so comforting and so big-hearted that they will make your tailgate experience, your game day experience that much better.
Eric, did you have something to add?
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Vince. I had a similar experience too, and this was many years ago, and the vibe was different back then too. But I don't know. I don't seem like a shy person, being a capo and stuff. But like, half the reason why I do all that stuff is because I'm shy. But sometimes I also do like to have my own space and like be alone at some of these games. So I do recognize that aspect as well. But I also do want to say that like we have come a long way from like 2013 till now, especially because it used to feel really cliquey there for the longest time, and it was hard to find. I mean, people would be nice, right? People were nice, but they weren't as like, they would just like say, "Hey, hello, great game today" or whatever, and then that was like kind of it. But I do agree. I think we've talked about this before together. Like, we have ideas to have events outside of just normal game day to get to know each other. And what I'll touch up more up when it's my turn to talk about philanthropy stuff, because it kind of goes under that whole umbrella of, trying to find inclusive spaces for everybody and stuff like that. But there's a whole variety of different ideas that we could try. I think Rachel even mentioned something like a button or something like that. People do that at some tailgates, a wristband or a button or something to say, hey, I'm new, or I'm willing to like hang out or chat, something like that. But we're definitely going to have more of these conversations moving forward, I'm sure.
Okay, Kirsten, next question, please.
Sorry, you're going to hear my dog barking. Apparently, Bob let the dogs out. All right, so here we go. Sorry. Any interest in doing a kids membership? There are plenty of season ticket holders in the River End with younger kids.
We could talk to Rachel and Sean about this maybe, but I don't know if exactly what the difference for a kids membership would be. Would it just be different merch? Like it's not or no merch? Like
Hey, yeah, so I'll chime in on this a little bit because our tailgate prices are just for food and not because our alcohol is donated and everything, and that's not the price we're paying. There really doesn't make sense to have a children's membership because the merch isn't like the membership kit isn't designed for any age, gender, race, or anything. It's just an in general goodie bag of fun things that anybody could use. So the idea of a kid membership, it just doesn't. And because the cost is so little for a membership, already you go to 3 tailgates, you get all your money back. So at this point, it just doesn't make sense to have a whole extra separate kit just for children. It just doesn't. I just don't know what would even be different in that kit. I mean, I'm all for different ideas. If anybody has any, but I just, as we sat down and I've talked about this before, I just don't know how that would look any different necessarily. Because again, most parents are coming up and buying a kit for their kid because they go, oh, my kid wants the scarf, they want the bandana, or sunglasses or whatever is in that kit. They're going to end up the child also uses. So yeah, I just don't see it looking any different. Again, if any parents have any suggestions on what that would look like, I would love to hear those. And you can either come talk to me at a tailgate or email me at rachel.gray@sonsofben. But yeah, as of right now, it just doesn't translate to a whole separate kit.
Eric?
I remember at one point too, we flirted around with the idea of like maybe, and we got to talk to John Light more about this really, but the Wu Fang clan or the kids, that was like kind of like our kids version of the Sons of Ben, I guess. But that would have to require like pre-orders kind of thing, because I do see some comments in the YouTube. There are people who do have kids who aren't even local, or there's kids, people with kids who would love to get something exclusive like for them. So I do understand that perspective. If there's enough interest, like Rachel said, reach out, let us know, because if there's enough of an interest, like we probably figure something out. But we have to know that the interest is there before we start, ordering stuff and hoping that it's just gonna, hoping that people will order it.
Yeah. What would be the kids thing is, so the kids membership, we would want to see what, look for feedback on what would you expect from a kids membership. Like, what do you think would be different to be like SOB Junior, whatever it is, or an offshoot of like making it like the Wu Fang group. It's the only difference I would see is maybe it's like one of the mini kid size scarves. So it's just a different merch kit. And that it would just be a limited run. I don't know if there's going to be actually interest for that, or if that's something that's worth doing.
And we could find different events over time too.
Price or anything like that. I think that's where people always ask, "Oh, is there a DD or is there a kids price for the tailgate?" Mm-hmm. And they're looking for kind of like a discounted price. Where I don't think a kids membership is going to be a discounted price unless it's maybe like a couple dollars difference and one item, and that item is a like the kid size mini scarf. Which, if there is interest in that, that is something that we can do. But
and that's just materially, like, we could also come up with some some kids events kind of thing or something like that. Could just be a bucket to do more family friendly type stuff, because I know we've had questions about family atmospheres and stuff like that. So yeah, we can play around with that moving forward.
Now, yeah, in our census data, there's one person that responded that was listed as under 18. And I'm assuming that's because most people under 18 aren't checking their emails or are really excited about doing surveys, or they just have their parents' email down because it was gifted to them, like what Rachel said at tailgates. So there might be some there, and like like Eric said, maybe we could do like a kids themed social event. We did ask about non-soccer, non-union social event, or non-soccer, non-SOB, like social event ideas. So if
That
there
was
is a
actually my
kid
next
one.
question.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So go ahead.
No, go right on ahead. Or is there going to be any SOB outings?
Yeah, so that was one of the questions. Some things would be like these were going to be probably more like social hours that do not benefit a charity. Like we've had like bowling nights or something like that, and they've been about a charity. These social events would be like going to Flyers or Sixers game as a group, or going, I guess Phillies is probably the only reasonable one right now. So it would be something like that. Well, if this is related to that, if there's interest for a kids night, maybe, or a kids themed group, we could maybe see if there's a kids social activity that might be for like the kids members, so we could see if anyone would like to do something like that. Again, I'm not really sure what those would be. We could also see maybe about the kids membership, be tying it in somehow to the union too. Like maybe you could get discounted tickets. No, I don't know how much they already discounted those tickets. Something like that, where the kids themed Sons of Ben stuff is tied to the younger kids or the younger team. That's kind of just thinking out loud there. Yeah, for the social events, getting back on track to that, it was more of a is there interest for this? And it does seem like there is a fair bit of interest, either in the city or in the suburbs. I saw some people asking for like South Jersey events. Some people asked, saying they would, but they live too far away. So maybe if it's like a fun enough event, they'll plan to come out to it. But that's kind of planning down the road for the rest of the season. Here's the next question.
Next question is, one of the questions we've submitted to our members were about SOB perks. A member submitted this question: what are these perks?
Well, the perks are, right now, most of them are your membership kit, which the cost of membership, you're getting that you're breaking even with just the scarf, and you're getting merch on top of it. There's probably, if you were buy similar merch inside the stadium, you're probably looking at $70 or $60, $70 worth of stuff from the union shop. So you're already getting some perks in that you're getting a good deal on just soccer Sons of Ben merch. Excuse me. The other perks are you get discounts on tailgates, you get discounts on road trips. Several of our watch parties and other bar partners, pub partners offer discounts if you're wearing SOB gear or just in general. Now, I will say this: a member of the front office texted me on Saturday night a picture of they were at a bar watching the game, and it was I don't know what bar he's at, but it's a stateside, and there's a SOB special, and they texted me to thank me because they love Surfside. So there's perks like that, where if you're wearing Sons of Ben Union gear, you get those drink specials at those bars. Some other previous sponsorships, not sponsorships, perks with our partners are there was a SOB discount at Sherwin-Williams, who's our main paint provider for all our TIFO. They were basically giving you contractor pricing for your project, for whatever home improvement project you need. That's something we're renegotiating right now with them. So if that's kind of the stuff more people want to see, we can lean towards that. We could lean towards really we just wanted to see what type of perks what would you like to see out of your membership? What perk would you like to receive? And I believe there was a list, and most people filled out that list in a hierarchy kind of grid so that we could allocate our efforts into like focusing, oh, you want more beer partnerships, well, we'll do with that. Oh, you want more merch, we'll try to find better deals so we can put more merch and more merch in your kit. Stuff like that is what we refer to as the membership perks. Any follow-up to that?
No, there's not. Thank you for answering membership. And thank you, Rachel. All right, next on, we're going to move into questions about chants, songs, and the river end.
All right.
First one up, could we please get new songs and chants?
So we do have new songs and chants. They don't seem to be getting too much response from the crowd, so we've just been kind of pushing. I know the Capos have been trying a couple new ones each game, whether it's at the beginning when the crowd's already going. It's just a matter of like we could try them all we want, and we kind of you can only try so hard, I think, from a capo standpoint to push a new chant out. And I know a lot of these have been recorded. We could try highlighting new chants with graphics and posting them online. I believe Molly did that initiative when she was secretary in social media. So we could try some stuff like that again. It was more of like a little sing-along page. Rob, do you have any input on this?
I do for a moment. Kirsten has also been doing this, and there was a group of us that went in and recorded these, including chants that were given. That is available, I believe, on our iCloud. There are some, I believe, on YouTube available. The words are with these chants. If you know them and you have someone standing next to you that is not singing, bring this up on your phone. Send them the link. It's really hard when there are 4 of us in a group of 25 and no one else is chanting with us. The capos can only do so much. This is also branching off onto the megaphone questions that are going to come up. The megaphones, I understand, are annoying, but our voices can only carry so far. We can only holler for so long. We're up there for 45 minutes without a break until the 15-minute in between, which really isn't a lot for someone that's been screaming at the top of their lungs to try to get, how many people do we have in the river run? At least half of them to continue, to chant along with us. It's tough. So the megaphones help us extend the noise from the river end to the stadium when it's quiet. It helps save the voice of the capo on the stand. Excuse me. It also helps the main capo on the ladder reach the new chant to the capos and the extending sections.
I know I have to grab a megaphone sometimes to yell from across the tunnel to the other capo stand to tell them something. Like it is loud down front, and the megaphones help us communicate even between the 2 capo stands. Like that's how much we need those megaphones.
But I do see the feedback online. So maybe we can only use the megaphone for the first couple of beats, excuse me, just to make the chant catch on. But if you guys in the river end are not going to follow along, then that capo is going to have to use that megaphone the entire time so you don't hear pins drop. So, I mean, either help with the chant so there's noise and we can use the megaphone less, or we're going to have to continue to use it the entire time so there's noise coming from the section. Thank you.
Also, I think you said iCloud when in reference to SoundCloud. We have our own SoundCloud that has the recordings.
I'm old, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
They are also up on our website too.
Oh, okay. So they're on our website, they're on our SoundCloud, and then we have, I believe, some highlighted on YouTube and other platforms. I think, Rob, did you still have something to add to this?
Yeah, real quick. Honestly, guys, our stadium, the River End, is a fortress. Yes, the beginning of this year, it's been a little, let's say, lackluster. Let's not be honest. We've had crappy weather for pretty much all the games so far. So it's not drawing out the people. People are a little bit miserable, and it doesn't create the most ideal environment when the weather is shitty. So that kind of falls into it. Concerning the megaphones, listen, it does save our voices. It really does. I've heard people say before, like, oh, they've had the megaphone, basically blown into their ear and whatnot. If that has happened to you, I personally apologize. That shouldn't be the case, and our capos have been trained before to say, point it upwards, don't point it directly towards an actual person. They're loud. They're meant to be loud. Unfortunately, yes, we do have to use the megaphones because we don't have a roof containing in that area. We're trying our best. Like I said, my capos and my drummers, they honestly do a wonderful job. They're all 100% volunteers, and remember that. Please remember that they are doing a great job so far. And like I said, if anybody's willing to have any ideas for new chants and whatnot, that's great. Let us know. Email us. We want to hear what new chants you have. If you start up an organic chant, I'm always listening. You'll see me on 138 on the 138 stand. I'm going actually in and out the actual stands. It's kind of hard for a big guy for me to do that. So, if you see me, I'm listening for you guys. I'm here trying to hear more of the organic chants, so I can pass that along to our capos and say, hey, listen for this chant, or hey, try out this chant. If I hear something organic, I'm usually, saying, to Jared or the drummer, say, hey, I hear this going on. Let's cut what we're trying to do and pick up on that, because a lot more people are doing that. So we hear you guys. We literally, we hear you. We're trying our best to go ahead and, make it more, upfront. So.
Eric, do you have something to add? Thank you, Rob.
Thanks, Rob. Yeah, listen, I've been doing this since 2015. There's a lot of complaints that I hear that are just patterns that I've seen since 2015, and a lot of complaints that I've had since 2015 that have not changed. There's and we got to lay out the physical stuff that Rob already did, right? We don't have a roof. That's a major part of the problem, because we have all that sound and all that energy just gets blasted into space. There's no back wall. That's a big deal, because sound does not project to the field. We have to literally, where your mouth is facing is important. If everyone is facing the same place, it gets louder on the field. Like the players here is way different than what we hear as individuals. Because I see a lot of these complaints. I've read a lot of these. There's a ton of complaints that sound the same. A lot of them are about the megaphones. A lot of them are about songs and chants and stuff like that. But it's hard to even just communicate. Communication is difficult in the River End, just by design. So keep that in mind, first of all. Second of all, I love the suggestions. I've been getting suggestions for years. I've got DMs. I've had to abandon my DMs because I can't keep up with people's recommendations. And I love it. I love this group. I love you all. Okay, but I gotta be frank. A lot of these ideas just don't make sense, and they're pretty bad. Like y'all are picking songs with, and listen, there's some ideas that are awesome, but have a ton of lyrics and the phonetics don't even match up. Like the syllables, there's like 10 syllables to one beat. Like they just don't make sense and it's not going to work. It has to be simple. It has to be easy to remember, right? It has to be something that you could say and repetitive. Like we're not band majors, we're not music majors in the River End. Some of us are, but a lot of people don't have that kind of experience. So we have to be aware of all of these
drum
things.
to keep the beat too.
And that's it. We only have 2 drums. Like that's not a lot.
3
Okay. And
drums,
another
but
thing
yeah.
I see, well, 3 now. And another thing that I see people way underutilizing, and I keep on trying to scream this to the people like just throughout the whole River End. If you look down and there's metal, literally the design of the River End, it was designed as a resonation. There's literally a resonation chamber underneath the entire River End. If you look outside, it serves 2 purposes. Yes, rain and drainage, but they left that hollow. So then when you stomp on that metal, it literally resonates. And there's like, it's almost like makeshift speakers on the side of the River End. And it sounds so loud. You can't hear it as an individual because you're not standing next to the, you have to keep in mind that like we are a big unit. Okay. So if you're closer to KSU, of course it's going to sound muddy and you're probably going to be annoyed because just of proximity, because you are in between 2 supporter sections. So yeah, I get it. Oh man, it's I hate hearing the clash. That clash, unfortunately, is only affecting the people that are right around that area. Because when you're on the field or you're watching it on TV, the clashes don't matter. It just sounds like an environment. It just sounds like a soccer environment.
Yeah, once you're on the field, it's noise is noise, pretty much.
And that's really what matters the most. We're here for them. We're not here to, and I get the experience matters for us too, but like, I also recognize that not all of us understand how, like, just how the physics of the area works, and it's very unique. A lot of people across the whole league don't deal with the problems that we have. So we have to keep these things in mind when we're trying to come up with these ideas and, be a little kinder to ourselves too. But yeah, solutions. Listen, we all know the number one easiest thing that could probably fix a lot really quickly. Yes, GA. Yes, we need KSU's tiny group. Why do they sound so loud? Because they can all, first of all, they're all tight. They're all homies. Okay. They all hang out together. They could, do chants and stuff together because they know each other and they stick in the same group. They don't have assigned seats and stuff. That's a big deal, right? So if we can consolidate all the people that want to be energetic and the people that want to keep their hands in the air, and that's also a problem. It's hard to keep your hands in the air when you got to hold your beer. There's no place to put your beer. There's no cup holders, right? So those tiny little things, and we're going to try to work with the FO, I'm sure. And also, this isn't, when I say GA, I'm not saying the whole River End, okay? It could literally, we just need a concentrated place where we can have anyone who wants to be loud and support show up and be there and loud and support. We need concentration. That's what we need. Either before the game, after the game, whatever. People will say, okay, and a lot of people will, because I've heard all the excuses, okay? People are going to say, oh, why can't we just meet up at the tailgates? That's harder than you think, because guess what? We'll meet at the tailgates, and then most of the people at the tailgate aren't even seated around each other. So a lot of people that come to the tailgates aren't even seated in the River End. So those are problems that are all on top of each other. You know what I mean? Like there are so many factors, and I hate when people are like, oh, the problem is, or the issue is. There is no the issue. There's a ton of factors that affect the entire atmosphere, and these are patterns that have happened for close to a decade, because I don't know if there's any other capitals besides maybe Ryan and Rob, who've been around since 2015, are seeing the same problems over and over. So it's tough. It's tough to navigate. As you can see, I'm passionate as shit about this because, y'all, like, I read all of I know what you guys are saying. And if we hear you, we understand you, but these are really difficult problems to navigate. And I know a lot of people like to make fun of the band kids and make fun of the drama kids and stuff, but guess what? If you're a band kid or drama kid, yo, sign up, like, help us out, because we need to look at these things strategically. We can't just be, we have to think of these things strategically. We also don't have like a unifying culture here either. Like we all come from different backgrounds and all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? So like, it's not like in Europe where you have fan bases that are together for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, or you have, things where, you go to South America, that's a cultural thing. Like it's like family, you know what I mean? We don't have that. We're new. Supporters groups are new here in the U.S. It's up to us to figure out what that's going to look like. Okay, and that's the last thing I was going to say is with the songs and chants. We don't need to be like Europe. We don't need to be like other supporters groups. Okay, we can literally just come up with our own stuff. Just come up with your own beats, your own songs. Like we don't have to follow a tune. Half of us don't even, especially now that we see a little bit of the demographics of the group. Y'all, I promise you, there is not going to be one song unless it's like a top hit that all of us are just going to know. There is a huge variety of diversity across the Sons of Ben, which is a wonderful thing. But like, we don't all listen to the same music. We got to come up with our own stuff, and I think that's a solution. That's all I got. Sorry for my long ass TED talk, but I had to get that out.
I see Rob has a point. I'm just going to say this on top of kind of Eric touched on it. Rob touched on it. When we say noise is noise, if you know the tune to a song or can pick up the tune to a new chant, but you don't know all the words, you can just make noise. Some of the chants that travel the farthest are the one where everyone started saying wah wah instead of la la. So just noise is noise. To that end, when the team did the photo shoot of wearing their new jerseys, and they were using our drum on the capo stand and waving their scarves, the people doing the shoot asked the players to sing what songs they knew, and they knew the wah wah one, yelling "shoot for Glesnes," "Hey Union, wake the fuck up," and a handful of other ones. And there are ones that are just simple, loud, you just make noise. That and the corner kick chant. Like, those are the ones the players knows. And then Andre Blake, He's Big, He's Green. That's Andre's favorite song and probably always will be. And he would know because he's the closest one to the river end at all times. Rob, what do you want to say?
Yeah, just real quick. If you guys do have any suggestions, like I said before, ultimately, if you send in a suggestion and it's related to a song, please add a YouTube link. That's all we ask. Don't say, oh, hey, it sounds like, Bye 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 by NSYNC. Okay, cool, that's great. Just add on the YouTube link for us so that we can then try and, if you have the YouTube link and the section of the song, mark it down with the minutes and the seconds and whatnot. That would really, really help us out. Another thing with, like I said, we say sound is sound. Not only do I go in and out of the river end, I do travel to some other sections and try and get a gauge. So a couple games, I'll go down to the other side of the stadium and I'll try and listen to what sound is resonating. And it is really hard for sound to resonate from all the way down the river end back over to, the 118 section behind the scoreboard and whatnot, so that when you're hearing the drums and the chant is then something different, it's because sound travels differently. It's a little bit rough. Like I said, our stadium is a little bit unique in that context. So if you guys and majority of the people here, you stay in the river end, you listen to what's in the river end. But if you ever go to the stadium club once and listen to the chants up in the stadium club off of that porch, it sounds a little bit different. So it's where this, like I said, when we say sound is sound, sound is sound. Like, you're listening. And do yourself a favor. We all have, we're all season ticket holders. Go back onto Apple TV. Check out the recaps. You will hear that. You're not really hearing the full on, the chants, the big chants, besides, clap, 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 Union and different things like that. And shoot, you're hearing sounds, loud sound. And that's what we really want to hear. And another thing, listen, I will say this. If you see me walking around, you guys have an idea or something along the lines of that, or you just want to say hi, you have a recommendation, please stop me. Say hi, and introduce yourself to me and say, hey, I got this idea. Okay, cool. And we can talk about it and chat. Game days are a little bit busy. But, like I said, make yourself known. It's hard to make a connection through a computer screen. I know it's kind of what we're doing tonight, but like if you have an idea and you post onto Facebook or Twitter or Discord or something like that, make yourself known to myself or any of the other board members at the actual game, so you're just not a name and a face hiding behind a screen. Like, we have a lot of keyboard warriors, out there that stick to what the comments, but they don't come up to the board members and actually engage in a proper conversation, and that's what really is needed. So.
Sorry to interrupt, because I know this isn't really my area of expertise of membership. However, a lot of the responses we got in some of these questions were like, I'm in section blah, blah, blah. How do I make it loud? Part of that is you leading it. I am in section 135, like closer to the end. And I know John and I sit there and we get our 2-3 rows yelling just because we're yelling. Like, as members in the riverfront or wherever you are in the stadium, like, part of that also has to be on you guys and not just our capos or just on our board. Like, there at some point has to be part of an accountability for you as a member and what you're also bringing to that section. If you were just standing there going, oh, well, these stands aren't what I want, or this isn't what I want, but you're not proactively doing things to help with that noise or help with anything, you're also then part of that issue of, well, this isn't loud. Maybe the chants aren't your favorite, but you do it that game, and maybe the next time you talk to Rob and we try something new, right? But I just think part of it is also just like you getting hyped and you being part of that experience as well. We talked about earlier how we only have 2 drums. If you play drums, if you have a tambourine, if you have a horn or something, get involved with us. I know before we put out something to say, hey guys, like we only have 2 or 3 drummers, we'd love more, and we haven't got a response. We can only do so much as a board with some of these things. Right now our current membership is at 1,800. I can't imagine that in that 1,800 there isn't at least one person that has some talent, whether, like I said, a tambourine or something, that they could bring to help this day. But again, Rob and the couple of capos we have can only do so much from our end. Like that, some of this involves you guys just as members. And so I just wanted to remind you guys of that, of like, you are allowed to take accountability and you are allowed to help us with that, and we would encourage it. So I just wanted to add that real quick.
Sorry to interrupt. All I'm just going to add here is, if you are a music producer, I'm just saying things that overlap. If you are a songwriter, music producer, beat writer, it sounds like those things don't matter, but like those are the tools that you use to make music that you also use to make chants and stuff, because the idea is that we need to simplify things. That's the hardest thing, is to simplify music and water that down to make it accessible to people who aren't. And that's another thing too, consistency, right? You don't have the same people all the time sitting in those seats, right? So game 3 and game 7, you might have the same people, and those are the only 2 times in the all season we have the same people sitting where they are. So you also have to account for that rotation. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's all I wanted to add. If you have those skills, please feel free to whip something up.
Kirsten, would you like to move to the next question, please?
Sure. We've gotten a lot of questions, comments in our survey, as well as on the YouTube channel, about general admission and safe standing. Would you please address that?
All right, so I mean, in a perfect world, that's how our section would have started and where we would be. I think it's a very hard shift to do now. I do agree that most of the stadiums where you see supporters culture front and center, like Portland is GA. They have people lined up hours before the game to get in, to get the best, possible seats. Every new stadium is safe standing with, you see some improvements in older stadiums with safe standing. that is looked at in our stadium. The front office has looked at it. They're weighing it. They have weighed it. We could also introduce a wider interest poll about GA. That's general admission. We could ask that. Now, that is not just to Sons of Ben members. Now, that is going to be broad to everyone, because when it started out, the River End was only open to Sons of Ben members. To get a ticket, you had to have a code. You had to be it was checked against, if you bought season tickets there, it was checked against membership. We had very low membership for quite some time when the team had a consistent, just middling performance. Our numbers dropped off. The River End was less and less full. The team said they couldn't justify us. They couldn't justify keeping the River End Sons of Ben only, so it was opened up to general admission, not general admission, general availability, and in doing so, that became the cheap seats. So that's kind of where that happened. If we have consistent sellouts at games and our membership numbers are high enough to reflect to that it might, the River End could switch back to being Sons of Ben only. I don't know if that we'll ever get there with those numbers or what that would be like, but in the meantime, the safe standing is probably the most, I would say, doable or generally favorable by everyone. Given our stadium's construction, or the River End's construction, it is a little tricky. As Eric mentioned, the center of like 137 and half of 136 and 138, not half, but like the staircases, they're metal. A lot of people don't know this. The River End was made to collapse into a stage for music events, which then Ernie Stewart completely stopped altogether, for good reason. But that's why those metal are there. The metal part is there. Those will never be able to be part of safe standing. So if we do switch to a safe standing, it would not include every part of the River End. But this is definitely something that we could bring up to the front office, and that we do have consistent interest in this, and I think it would be a useful feature, but it's not our stadium, and we can't just make decisions like that. That comes down to the front office. The best we can do is we can communicate what we want to say.
I promise we'll try.
Yeah. A little creepy there, but
Sorry, no, but we brought it up to them before, so I
Yeah.
think if we keep on just bashing them over the head with it, eventually we'll do it. We'll see.
yeah. Kirsten, next question.
Well, I believe Eric covered everything in his little rant there.
You can touch back onto it though, so it's more isolated if you need to.
All right. One of the questions about the River End: are there any handicapped seating?
If you need, so there's different levels, I would say, just kind of like parking question too, or the tailgate spot too. Now, if it's handicap seating where you could bring a wheelchair in, there is none. If that's the case and you are in the River End, you can speak with fan services, and there's field level seats. For the River End, I believe they are in front of 101 or in front of 139, kind of where the players warm up. They can move your ticket to those seats depending on availability. If that section's full, they pick a different field level for you. Now, if you're consistently coming to games and it's something like you can't stand the full 90 minutes, maybe we work to see if we can get you a spot in the front row where you can use the railing to lean against. I know that's what I did when I couldn't walk for a while. So I used Eric Shirt seats and kind of just leaned on the railing there. If it's something like you just need to sit down and take a breather every once in a while. And everyone does. Just let like a capo know. That way you're not getting people telling the capo, tell this guy to stand up or anything like that. But if you're looking for something more of like full wheelchair user in the river end, I'm afraid there's not anything right now with that. Everything is built around stair access from the bottom up, so that would be just finding the closest available field seats, and fan services would be able to help you with that. Kirsten?
Thank you. We have multiple questions about the podcast. Will that ever be coming back?
We're looking to see what we can do for the podcast in terms of do we want to continue it, in what capacity, and who will be running it. I don't know if it will ever be the weekly broadcast that Matt, Adam, and Devin had. As most of you know, Devin and Matt are no longer board members. They're still around in the Sons of Ben, but they're just not board members. Adam was kind of a everyman's voice on that podcast as head capo. He has also stepped back from his duties this year. He's still at some games as in a capo capacity, but he's no longer the role. He's no longer taking the role as head capo. So we're trying to see. So obviously there's been a few questions and a need for the podcast, or want for the podcast. So we're seeing what we can do for that. I saw some of these questions were relating to this is how they primarily got their like MLS news. I mean, there's a lot of MLS podcasts, a lot of union podcasts that we can recommend. Maybe if you're looking for something like that. I mean, there's really no shortage of MLS or U.S. soccer podcasts. As for a Sons of Ben centric one, we're kind of we're working on where that is heading, and in what and in who's taking it over in what capacity. Any follow-ups to that? I think Eric, did you raise your hand for that?
I did, but we gotta talk a little bit more internal about that. Basically, yeah, I would say stay tuned, because I'm sure if we do bring that up, we're probably going to need some additional help for that. And also, I would plug that into other forms of communication, like maybe discussing how we could use Discord, and any other forms of new media that we're not really using too much right now. But we got to talk a little bit more about that. But stay tuned, everyone.
Kirsten, next question, please.
Okay, there's been a couple questions about watch locations within the city with sound, and pretty much specific Sons of Ben oriented watch locations.
We can bring up to our partners, our pub partners, that most people do want sound with their watch party. So whenever that's a one, and I know that it's a good point that they make, that they let you know before game day, so you can put that in there. So I don't know, other than passing this information along to our partners, that there is a one for the sounds, especially for the locations in the city. That is something. Yeah, that's just, there's a want, and we'll communicate that to our partners. So the second part of that was like a Sons of Ben only watch party. Was that correct?
Not necessarily a Sons of Ben only watch party, but it looks like it's worded for board members to come out and see everybody.
Okay. Yeah, that's. I know each board member probably has their own away game kind of like plans and vibes, but we can make a point to try to get more board members out to more events and spread them around. Kind of like oh, maybe this, and announce that, hey, I'll be at this one or at this pub, whatever. Jess?
Yes. So we are currently working on this on the back end. COVID kind of put a wrench into the viewing parties. I know that we have viewing parties posted online as to who is going to be showing the away matches. But in the past, we used to have dedicated viewing parties at one specific bar, pub, what have you. We would rotate these since the stadium is not in Philadelphia. There isn't a specific bar that we could go to on a continuous basis because of that. So this season, we are kind of trying to focus on one bar each month in the warmer months. Hopefully that can draw a bigger crowd, and we'll be able to utilize some of the pub partners' outside patios and food trucks and things of that nature. So that is being worked on currently.
Rob?
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I went out for the Cincinnati game 2 weeks ago. I went out to Maggio's up in Southampton. Honestly, had a great turnout, and this also shows the power of our members. Mike and Terry have ultimately volunteered to help bring up Maggio's as a pub partner. And if you don't know who Mike and Terry is, they're who you get the road beers from. And I think Maggio's has done a wonderful job. Like I said, I went there, met with some of all of y'all, got to talk to some of you before the match and during the match, and so we had a great time, minus the results, of course. But so yeah, I mean, we're trying to get the board members. We're trying to get out there, see all of y'all, go to some of the different places and whatnot. But
Vince?
Yeah, so I live a bit further away, so like for me, in my experience, it's always a lot of these watch parties. They're like in Philadelphia. It's a bit harder for someone like me being in Central Jersey. It does exist, but it's a little bit harder for me to get down to Center City to join up with some of these watch parties. That's why I don't really travel a lot to some of these. But maybe there's something we could do to try and encourage, those with like larger families that are trying to fight for parking and trying to get their kids in and around all our different partners in and around Philadelphia, outside, maybe somewhere outside of Philly or even more in Jersey. Like maybe we could come up with some other alternatives as well, because we are spread all over the area. That's just
Hey, yeah, I definitely agree with that. I know people from around our area tend to also spend their summers in different areas, which is the middle of the season for soccer. Kirsten, I know we're running a little close to end time on this. So if there's any like bigger questions that we wanted to get out of the way and then or try to answer, and then any other questions we can answer in a written format and publish that on our website, as well as this recording and possibly a transcript.
Okay, we do have philanthropy left, but I think Eric can talk fast enough.
Do we want to end on that, or we could possibly, that could be its own little written kind of thing, maybe, if there's other parts we need to get to or want to touch on. Because I think philanthropy could be a good one to write to, because we do have, I believe, some of those answers could be assisted with looking at some of the data that we gathered in our survey. So I think that might be those might be better questions to address in a written format.
I mean, it's up to you guys. Yeah, we got 10 minutes. So, I mean, yeah. I don't know if there's anything here that's like pertaining to the actual game day experience or anything like that. This is all, yeah, I guess we can answer a lot of these. Yeah, it's up to you guys. I don't know.
Yeah, I think if it's okay, I think we're going to save the philanthropy questions for a written format. That way we can take these last couple minutes to offer it up to any of the board members who did not really get a chance to speak too much, to have a open floor and speak to our members directly. If anyone would like to do that, just hit the little raise hand button. Or if you're on your phone and would like to do that, just kind of start talking.
I'll start it off, Ryan.
All right, cool. Thank you, John.
I can't raise my hand because I'm the host.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, hey, everybody. Yeah, there wasn't really too many crazy questions for me to address outright. Wanted to actively continue to encourage people to submit ideas for merch you would like to see. You can either tweet me, you can email me at johnlight@sonsofben.com. Maybe it's time we put out a little social media post about, getting in touch with me. For this year, my kind of goal is to create kind of collections of different merch that we can promote that makes sense. Stuff like the zip-ups to start us off. They were a little heavier hoodies than we've normally seen and things like that. I wanted to assure everybody that there is definitely some really interesting projects in the works, things that they're not fully fledged out yet, but they are certainly in motion. And so I just encourage everyone to stay tuned, and I just want to thank everybody for your continued support of our merchandise. So, thank you.
Thank you, John.
I would like to end with, it's Jess, I'd like to end with thank you everybody for joining us tonight. If you have any questions, feel free to email me throughout the season. I'm pretty quick to respond with them. Also, for those of you that don't feel comfortable at the tailgate or feel, left out on something, I'm always around. I'm probably more awkward than most of you and pretty shy. So if you feel like you need to get something off your chest, or there is an idea that you have but you don't really know where to go or who to share it with, you can always find me walking around somewhere. So that's it for me. Thanks, guys.
Again, this is Rachel. Same note as Jess. I'm always at the membership table. I would love to get to know you. It's harder for me to walk around just because I'm trying to, push our numbers and sell some kits. But I would love to hang out. So even if you want to come up with a beer and just hang out with me at my little tent, I'd love to get to know more of you, and we can talk about, and you guys can give me ideas for some activities outside of Sons of Ben, because I would love to start doing those things, whether it's us meeting at a bar for a drink or going to another sports game together. I would love to start doing some non-Philadelphia Union-related things to get to know us all better and have us all grow together a little more. So I think tonight's meeting was a great first step in that, and a great first step in the direction the board wants to take, and some of that open communication and just growing together as a group to make us the best that we can be. And I just wanted to remind everyone that I would love to meet them, and you guys can come and hang out with me at the membership tent anytime. And again, thank you so much for your time tonight and for dealing with our technical difficulties and everything. We really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Justin wants to talk to everyone about beer, I think. Justin?
Yeah, as Justin and Rachel said, if you are a new member, please, I am always behind the beer table. I have gotten to meet over the last few seasons some new members and gotten to have some very lovely chats with everyone. So if you are new and do not know many people, it's not hard to spot this big old bald head. Come over, grab a beer, say hi, chat for a bit. and you'll find that we are a welcoming bunch of people.
Eric, would you
Yeah, I'd second everything they're saying. Super friendly group, and also super non-judgmental. I'm definitely like, I'm not going to judge you. I don't care if you like, listen, come talk to us. Also, just a quick touch up on the philanthropy stuff. First of all, if you feel uncomfortable at these tailgates and stuff like that, or anything like that, and I know there's some people who are uncomfortable around the word inclusion. If that's you, I am not going to judge you or anything. If you want to have a conversation about that, a good faith conversation, and why that stuff's important, that is also why we are partnered with Play Proud and Common Goal, because they help facilitate these things and understand these things, so we could facilitate them to you. It's like a train the trainer kind of thing. So I can help facilitate that kind of thing if anyone is interested in like a workshop about that kind of stuff, like why it's important, and maybe some of the future ideas of what we're thinking about along those lines. Hit me up, please. We'll talk. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to call you names or whatever. Non-judgment zone. Please feel free to talk to me.
All right, I think we'll do Rob next, and then Mike.
Thanks.
Rob?
Sorry, I was just reading something. Yeah, I know it's going to sound repetitive, but listen, we're trying to be more open towards everybody. Come see me. Like I said, it's not hard to miss me on game day. And like I said, if it looks like I'm rushing around, if I'm crazy busy and whatnot, seriously, just come over, say hi to me. I have all the time in the world for our members. I want to talk to you guys. I want to get to know you guys. We do want to hear what you have to say. That's really the bottom line with it. So please say hi to myself or all of us. And also, just a quick shout out, come out on Saturday for the St. Baldrick's tailgate, where I will soon ultimately look like Justin with that big, beautiful bald head of his. So it's another great event to come out to. I know we really in touch a lot with philanthropy and whatnot, but yeah, come on out, have a great time with us. That's what this whole crazy experiment we call the Sons of Ben. We are here to have fun with everybody, and support the Philadelphia Union.
Thank you, Rob. Mike?
Ditto. Since I've been on the board, I've been going to tailgates more. I'm usually somewhere near the beer stand, or down by Mike and Terry, or somewhere in between. So come over, say hi. Sometimes I have my wife, sometimes I have kids, but they're mean and old and grown up, and they drink beer now. So legally. Anyway, thanks for your time, everybody tonight who dialed in. So.
Kirsten, did you have any closing remarks you wanted to add, since you kind of been the voice of the people today, so we didn't really get to hear your individual voice? I didn't know if you wanted to have any closing remarks.
I'm very glad that we did this. It was great to hear from our members. Honestly, if you guys see me at a tailgate, please stop and say hi. I live in my own little world, going around taking photos with Donnie this year. And to anybody who does not know, I am visually impaired. So if you're waving to me and I don't wave back, please don't take that offensively. I'm literally, I probably just did not see you. So honestly, please come up to me and just say hi. I would love to be able to get to know you on a more personal level. And I can't wait to do one of these again.
All right. Thank you, everyone. As everyone mentioned, it's fairly easy to get in contact with us. Most of it, our Sons of Ben emails are available. Most of them are just our first name dot last name at sonsofben.com. You can email info@sonsofben.com. There's any of the social media, the main social media, Sons of Ben channels are monitored continuously almost, and Kirsten will get the message to whoever it needs to get to or answer your question directly. I do know there's some talk about the Discord and the use of that. We do have there are moderators in there. It is not and was never really an official channel. It was just kind of a group social dynamic at it with the Sons of Ben as the main driving connection. So the moderators are there to take care of any issues, but if there's things being brought up in the Discord, feel free to ask a moderator to bring it to the board's attention or to yourself bring it to the board's attention if you think there's something that we need to directly address. I think that's it for tonight, and again, we'll try to answer any other questions or any follow-up questions we might not have answered. We'll answer those in a more written format and get those and publish those for you guys. And thank you for tuning in tonight.
Also, feedback. Give us feedback if you like
yes,
these.
Yeah. If you like to see more of these, I think we need to work out some of the technical ideas behind it, and we're looking to bring more stuff like this to you to have more of a outreach to those who can't come out to the tailgates and stuff like that. Again, thank you everyone for tuning in.
We're all in this together. All right, see y'all.
I'm not making that.